Welcome to Houston Sports Talk with your host, Robert Land.
Welcome to the Texans-Vikings postgame show. Thanks for checking into the best Houston sports podcast, part of the National Bleav Network, presented by our friends at FanDuel. And joining me to break this one down, as is the regular case, Thomas Chavarria, co-host of the Bullpen podcast. But you live YouTube viewers can join us too. So hit us with questions and comments as we move along. But Thomas, it's been a while since we've broken things down. It's good to see you. Good to talk about actual starters on the field for the Texans.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thanks for having me back. This is always fun to do. It feels like it's been a long time since we've been able to talk football and actually feel like it was going towards something. A lot of the offseason stuff, you just kind of hoped that it would work out. Now we actually got some tape. We got some film to see what these guys look like. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're not going to waste you guys' time. We go right into this, and we're going to hit you with some early drives, and then we're going to get some general thoughts. But Panthers' first drive, Stingley, the interception, but it's negated by a Will Anderson holding penalty. Andy Kalu said it was pretty obvious, so I'll go with him on that. But the Texans forced a 3-and-out. After that, we finally get to see the most that we've seen of the first-team offense since last season. Texans go 3-and-out, Tom, but C.J. Stroud misses a wide-open Nico who had beaten his man. Also, one thing that you notice, and just on the good side, besides the C.J. Stroud missed throw, is how quickly the Texans quarterbacks are getting the ball out in Kaylee's offense.
Yeah, early, I was able to go to the training camp practice thing. So I love to see how fast they were getting to the line and just giving CJ all the time to really dissect the defense. I feel like that's going to be something that's going to be so refreshing for Texan fans. I know last season we talked about it at length, how it was just so disorganized. And now you see a team that looks like they're really trying to be on the front foot and really try to be aggressive. So it's going to be fun to see this team look the part of an aggressive football team that's attacking defenses as opposed to like reacting to what they're doing.
Texans defense back on the field. They force a 3-and-out, which ends on a Mario Edwards sack, but that was really set up by pressure from Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. Give them the credit. Even though that's fun to see, what was even more fun was rookie Jalen Knoll flashing on a 22-yard punt return, Tom. Even though there was a late penalty that brought it back, I couldn't quite see if that was a real penalty or not. John Harris on the broadcast didn't really like the penalty, but it was nice to see all through camp, we've seen 2 punt return threats, real threats between him and Berrios.
Yeah, I think it's different, right? So often we didn't know who the punt return guys were going to be in seasons past. And Jalen Knoll looks like a dude that can walk right in and just take over a job that, I feel like that's something that the Texans have sorely lacked. A dude, a difference maker. We saw a Tank Dell do it some flash, and then we didn't want to see him get hurt. Now you've got other guys that are able to go ahead and step in there that aren't Tank, that I think, can really excel at the position.
Yeah, and putting Tank back there, you were always scared because obviously health concerns with him. So yeah, it's really cool to see like a real battle as far as return battle that we've seen. I mean, usually it's like, who's going to be the best of the 2 worst guys is kind of what it's been like in past years. There were just way too many special teams penalties last year. So I'm hoping that's something that is going to change under Frank Ross's group. Texans second drive, Stroud hits Kirk and Nico on first downs, making it second short twice in a row. Second short, we didn't see that a whole lot last year. That was kind of cool. The rookie Higgins makes a sweet diving catch at the Panthers 26 on a nice route. Chubb follows it up with a couple of nice runs. And Tom, I'm noticing for the second straight week how this first team O-line is moving guys backwards in the run game. You can do that. You can move guys backwards when you block them. That's pretty cool.
I'm really trying not to like hype myself up, build up too much because they look so good so far. Carolina is obviously not a good football team, and their defense isn't that great. So I'm trying not to put a lot of stock in it, but at the same time, this offense looks very, very dynamic. I think, when they're whole, when you have the complementary, with Mixon and Chubb, I mean, Chubb's a guy that is just incredibly powerful. I think in short line stuff, he's going to get you the tough yards, and they're opening holes that he can run away from guys. So I love what they're showing us so far, in a sense that it's the tip of the iceberg to me.
Yeah, they need to make sure they've got a way to make things happen in the running game when Joe Mixon is not around, because right now it's looking like Aaron Wilson's saying that he's probably not going to play the first game. It's not looking good for him, like no real updates with him on that, so we have no idea. Back to the game, 2nd and goal, Stroud with plenty of time, can't find anybody, goes down, but 3rd down, Stroud with an open Ogunbowale coming out of the backfield, the pass deflected by defensive lineman Bobby Brown. You're like, well, so much for that. Missed opportunity. But D'Amico doesn't waste our time with a needless field goal in a preseason game, which I hate. It's so stupid. Who cares? We're not scoreboarding a preseason game. He goes for it. And then Stroud finds who else? Nico Collins for his first TD of 2025. And Tom, does CJ have more early options with this offense? It just feels like that's the case.
On that particular play that you brought up, if you go back and look, he had Kirk or Nico that he could have chose from, and they both probably scored that touchdown. So it's really, you spoke to it really well. Like, it's really good to see them want to sixes. We saw teams in the past just settle for field goal. I hope that they continue this forward into the regular season, because this team is really going to be measured by whether or not they can succeed in the red zone. And they're going to have to start rolling the dice a little bit. I understand, the situation has to be there, but I think that this is a team that should want to outscore teams, and they're going to have so many weapons. We can talk about all the different wide receiver options. We can talk about all the running back options. I think the weapons are there for them to constantly try to put up touchdowns as opposed to settle for field goals.
We're going to get more into the offensive line later on, but I do want to highlight one guy that kind of made an impression on me. I wasn't expecting to make an impression, because I talked to my Vikings insider a few months ago on this show. I hope everybody saw that. Ed Ingram was not a guy I had a whole lot of confidence in. He looked really good, Tom, and that's somebody that I wasn't expecting to look this good for the Texans, and I thought he's just going to be a bench guy. We're not going to see much of him.
I love the competition that they have on the offensive line. One thing I want to point out, I went to that training camp thing, and Ed Ingram is a huge human being. Like, if they can figure that out, that's a whole wall. They've got a ton of size, where before I felt like the offensive line was predicated on guys being small and being able to, be shifty. There's a lot up front as far as size, which I think that they need. And Ed Ingram looks like if they can fix him, he can be a really good player.
Before we get to the Davis Mills Texans, got to ask you a big picture question, Tom. Our friends at FanDuel give you basically even money on a Texans over-under win total of 9.5. And I don't know if you've thought too much about this, but would you play the over? And as you know, Tom, they've hit 10 wins in D'Amico's first 2 years. They're 18th in strength of schedule. So not as difficult on paper, I thought, as last year's schedule.
I definitely feel like this Texans team is at minimum a 10-win team. When you look in their division, which they have an opportunity to, pad that in their division, I really don't see anyone that's going to give them a hard time. I would absolutely take the 10 wins, because I just feel like this team is really complete. We talk about the offense. We haven't even talked about the defense, and they're miles ahead of the offense right now.
No question about it. The defense, we're going to talk more about them in a little bit, but yeah, they really look sharp. Before we go through more of the possessions, just want to remind you guys, if you're watching live, tell me what you think in the YouTube comments. Also, tell me what you think if you're not watching live as well. Look for our YouTube shorts if you need a quick break at work, and make a note that we're going live 9 p.m. on Texans game days for afternoon games this year. So if you're hanging with friends or at the afternoon games, which is something I know Tom likes to do, you can get in the live chat that night. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube so you can get those notifications, get updates on the live shows, all our content that way. You're also gonna subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. All right, let's go to the Andy Dalton-led Panthers late in the first quarter. And after Carolina picked up their first non-Texans penalty Danielle Hunter, the flex Dalton's third down pass, and the first team defense, you were talking about it just a few minutes ago, Tom, looked on point in those first 3 possessions. They did their job.
Yeah, the defensive line is just an absolute nightmare for teams. I felt like Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson were in the backfield the entire time. And we've already talked about Derek Stingley, but I mean, some of the other guys looked really good too. The defense, I feel like they're just going to be one of the top defenses in the entire league. And they just prove it every time you see them. They look so sharp. I run out of adjectives to describe them because they're really, really good.
Yeah, Tom, I think, is saying, hey, he's not worried too much about the offense. That's why he wanted you to bet the over on FanDuel. So go to FanDuel.com and check him out. Davis Mills in at quarterback at this point. Fumbles a couple of early snaps. For some reason, just did not come out taking the snaps well. But on the second fumble, rookie Woody Marks drags 2 or 3 guys, at least 5 yards on a 12-yard run, knocked over another guy on the next play for 6 more yards. This is powerful stuff from the Trojan Rook, Tom. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think he's going to get an opportunity to really try to make this 53-man team. When we talk about Joe Mixon not being available for the first game, you got Dare, you got Pierce, but Pierce is kind of nicked up. So I love that he's out there trying to earn a spot on this team.
Yeah, Woody can also pass block, and we didn't see it highlighted as much, I think, as we saw it the week before, but just a really good all-around back. I mean, the more I heard about him, the more I had some of my experts talking about him coming out of USC. I know John Harris loves him to death, but John is kind of positive on a lot of stuff. So I don't know what to take from John Harris at times, but some of the other sources, it really looked good. Back to the game. Next play, Mills overthrows Hutchinson, then throws behind Justin Watson, nearly had it picked off, but on 4th down, he makes a laser throw to Watson for 14 yards, but the drive stalls thanks to a Higgins pass interference. Not much on a draw screen that I don't know. It was like they had a draw, they had a screen after that. The Higgins pass, it was kind of, the whole thing went underneath a little bit at that point. Blake Fisher limped off on 4th down, but I was going to say before he limped off, Tom, looked light years better than he did last week.
Yeah, I think Blake Fisher, I don't know. I'm curious how you feel. Like, I know last year, was his rookie year and he got, a taste of everything. I feel like the bar is set really high for him so far. I don't expect him to be perfect. I don't expect him to be a finished product, but I think in reading some of the social stuff, a lot of people are really hammering on Blake Fisher like he's the odd man out already. And I really think that, they're trying to develop him. And you spoke to it. He looks so much better. He got nicked up, went into the tent, came out, went back into the tent, then went back into the locker room. So I hope he's okay. I love that this team has the depth on the offensive line where if somebody's not in there, you feel like the guy that's going to come in behind him can fill the role. The offensive lines just look so much better. I know it's 2 games, but that's all I have to go with so far. So I'm really excited if the offensive line can continue to open holes for the running game and block well enough for the pass game. Team's going to be scary good.
Yeah, and I don't feel like people are being too hard on Blake. He hadn't looked good in camp. He was jumping a lot. Legal procedure penalties both in camp and during that first preseason game. He was whiffing on guys the first preseason game. I mean, Pro Football Focus still was doing grades in the preseason, and it was not good. It was, trust me, he was a big fail on the grade, like and I think in the 30s or something like that. But another part of this whole thing, when I'm watching the game, Tom, is Carolina Panthers suck. Like they look bad. I mean, honestly, they look real bad.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good football team. I know they kind of surged towards the end of the last season, but as you look at them, I just don't see how they're going to win a lot of football games. So I'm tempering what I saw because I don't think they're good. I really want to see them play like a really good football team. I think we're going to have to wait till it's Tampa, but I'm trying not to take every game that they play and go, well, this Texan team, who's going to beat them? Even though I'd love to do that.
Want to hear you guys in the comments. Oscar Sanchez points out, Tom, it looks organized, something we couldn't say last season. And it really does. I mean, I feel like we might be overreacting a little bit because it's preseason, but it's just a different look out there from the offense.
Something that I saw, and that's something that they talked about after the joint practice. DeMeco's stepping out of the role of being the defensive coordinator / head coach, just like solely focusing on the defense. He spent the entire day with the offense, and I think that's only going to help the organization where he's not, he's being able to delegate, and he's not required to be a defensive coordinator and a head coach at the same time. I really hope that that's part of what's going on here. Obviously, there's a couple of different coaches in there, so new voices. They're cleaning up some of those details. But I think it's great that DeMeco's spending time, trying to get on both sides of the ball so that he can help with that sort of thing.
Yeah, and one thing I do not like from a lot of head coaches in the NFL is they get so caught up in what they're coaching, their specialty offense or defense, that they're not good at using timeouts. They're not good at using red flags. They're not good at all the little things that a coach has got to do. And you want him engaged. And DeMeco looked like he was engaged, but some of those things, I don't know, Tom, he could have improved on the first couple of years as a head coach. We've seen Andy Reid improve on those things over the years as a head coach. He was not good at timeouts and some, end of game stuff early on in his Eagles career. So it is possible. These guys do get better at stuff like this because you got to imagine how fast it's got to be moving for these NFL coaches. It moves fast for me, and I'm just watching on my couch eating Cheetos or whatever.
Yeah, it's the shortest 35 seconds. I always feel like the minute the ball is set down, it's like 10 seconds, 15 seconds left.
Yeah, just a quick reminder before we continue that if you've got people to hire for your company, we know finding great candidates, hey, it's not easy. You get too many resumes, not enough candidates with the right skills or experience. But with ZipRecruiter, they find amazing candidates for you and fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter's brilliant technology identifies top talent for your roles quickly. Immediately after you post your job, ZipRecruiter's powerful matching tech starts showing you qualified people for it. It also lets you connect with top candidates. You could use ZipRecruiter's pre-written invite to apply message to personally reach out to your favorite candidates and encourage them to apply sooner. Ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, the needle in that haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/audio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, Tom, before we hit some more storylines in this one, I've just got a fun question for you. Can the Texans run the table in the AFC South? I ask this because our friends at FanDuel pays a Texans clean sweep off as plus 1,100. So is it worth taking an 11-1 payout? Keep in mind, they were 5-1 last year, so they almost did it last year.
I mean, you look around the division, I don't see a team that scares me. Obviously, it's very tough to do, so that's why FanDuel is trying to pay it out. But if you were going to take a risk on something, I don't see why you don't throw a couple of dollars at that and see what it does, just for the simple fact that the Colts, they're trying to figure out their quarterback situation. The Jaguars, they got a new GM, new coach. The Titans, I don't even have to talk about the Titans, do I? Like they're a whole mess there too. So why not the Texans?
Yeah, and why not just play it and then hedge something else, something a little bit easier. You're playing like a small number or something like that. And if you hit big. If not, you get a payback. So there you go. Check that out at FanDuel.com. Oscar says Noel looked better than Berrios as a punt returner. You think that knocks Berrios off the final roster? How do you see the numbers playing out, Tom, with the wide receivers? Because there's a bunch of guys there. I kind of think both of them can make this team at this point. I feel like maybe they use Mechie as a trade chip. I was talking about that last week, but I think they had 7 last year they went into the regular season with. Maybe they could go with 7 again. I don't know.
It's really interesting. I mean, you've invested so much time and energy into John Mechie, but not only you, I've seen other people around the Texans social media space that's talked about Mechie as a potential trade chip, even so far as to say, where they thought a good landing spot would go. I hope that they keep 7. I hope that they keep all these guys because, as we've seen the last couple of years, injuries happen, especially in the wide receiver room. So having the depth with all of this talent, because I think all 7 are really good. I like what Berrios has done. I love what Noel has done so far. I don't have to talk about Higgins. I don't have to talk about Hutchinson. Mechie's looked really good. I know, like, yeah, we could just trade him and get a draft pick and reset that clock. But I really think Mechie's finally turned the corner that everybody's been waiting on him to turn the corner. I don't know how much you use him, but if there was a scenario where he had to step in because something happened to one of the top guys, I really think he could.
Yeah, if you look at it, I mean, there's 4 obvious. We know Nico, Kirk, the 2 rookies, Higgins and Noel. Then it comes down to, how many are you keeping and which guys are you keeping among Justin Watson? We can't forget him because he's looked pretty decent also. But there's Berrios, there's Mechie, and there's Hutch that, I mean, a lot of praise from the Texans coaching staff on Hutch. They really like the way he's looked so far. There's nothing bad you've seen in the preseason from Hutch or Mechie, to be honest with you. I mean, Mechie I think he had one go off of his hands. Maybe he should have caught, but the throw was a little high from Davis Mills, if I remember correctly, Tom. I don't know. I don't know what they do here.
It's good. I'm glad it's not on me. I don't envy Nico. I don't ever Nick Caserio or D'Amico Ryan's job trying to trim this roster down because they're gonna end up letting some guys or trading some really good talent away.
Yeah, Oscar says Hutch is a lock. So I don't know if anybody is a lock on those final 4, but it's going to be fun. And again, they could use some depth in other areas, and we can get to that. But that might be where you trade from if they do anything at the end of camp. Texans defensive subs come into the game midway through the second. Plummer at Carolina quarterback at this point. Jack Plummer, not Jake Plummer. Somehow the same team has had Jack and Jake Plummer at quarterback in the last 20 years. Remember, Jake Plummer played in the Super Bowl in Houston at NRG Stadium. I was there for that, covering the game. So, yeah, it's kind of funny to see this guy out there. After a couple of first downs, rookie cornerback Jalen Smith, nice open field hit on a screen. Then Darrell Taylor gets pressure, giving Toa a sack. We've talked about Taylor has got some real potential for the Texans as a backup edge guy. Really love what he can bring. The mostly second-team D forces a punt at this point. Nothing doing on the Texans' next possession, 3 and out. So Carolina puts a short drive late in the first half together for a field goal. Davis Mills has a shot at a 1-minute drive in his final possession. This is what I wanted to get to, Tom. He has 4 short passes, 2 of them to tight end Irv Smith, battling for that tight end roster spot. We talk about another roster battle. And then Mills draws a pass interference on his throw to Justin Watson that sets up a Fairbairn field goal. It wasn't perfect, but really nice end of the half drive, and nice first half really overall, even though, they had that one possession by the starters that, we saw CJ miss Nico on, but overall really good.
Yeah, you never want to see your backup quarterback play ever, right? In regular season, you never want to see him. However, I think the Texans are very blessed if for some reason something was to happen, that I think Davis Mills could actually lead this team. Not necessarily, put up CJ numbers. It's not even close. But, if a week or something happened, he could do it. And he showed it here. I think that the 1-minute drive at the end of the half looked really good. I think they were in and out of the huddle. I think they made the plays that they needed to make to get in a position to be where they needed to be. I think there was one pass play in there where they tried to get out of bounds, had to use their last time out. And had they been able to work that a little bit better, maybe they have a shot at the end zone. But I love that they got points. And I really wonder what happens. I mean, I don't think Davis Mills is going anywhere, but if somebody needs a quarterback, I would come for looking for Davis Mills.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not seeing him going anywhere just because I think they re-signed him. And so, unless you're just kind of bowled over and you're confident in the other 2 guys, and we can get to what those guys can do. That tight end battle, Irv Smith looked good today. He really did. A veteran, a guy that, you could count on a little bit. Luke Lachey, 7th-round pick. Tom, I think he can be stashed on the practice squad. I don't think we've seen him flash enough to where other teams are going to come running at him. So, yeah, I would say that's the way it's going to shake out unless they make a trade for another tight end.
Yeah, I love Irv Smith. I thought he was going to do more with this team. And I hope that he gets a chance to do more with this team. And as far as the young guy, I don't have a problem with them putting him on a practice squad, letting him develop, and then bringing him up if the need arises.
Yeah, and don't forget Cade Stover. We could see a breakout from Cade Stover this because I'm hoping we don't see a whole lot of Irv Smith because I'm hoping we'll see Schultz and Cade Stover really playing well and staying healthy too. Second half, let's go stock up on the second half. Stock up, stock down on a couple of guys. I mentioned USC rookie cornerback Jalen Smith's nice open field hit in the first half. He goes full stock up by adding an interception in the third quarter, Tom. The Texans draft class looking real solid when Jalen Smith got it going because Higgins, Knoll, Ursery, Marks, they all flashed today, and they've showed major promise throughout camp.
So I think one of the positions of concern, if there is a position of concern with respect to depth, is corner. And Jalen Smith, for me, really makes me feel a whole lot better. Obviously, he's a young guy. He's going to make mistakes. But everything you've seen so far makes you think this is a guy that they can develop to be a solid piece on this team, maybe this year, maybe next year. Obviously, we hope we never have to see him, right? You got guys right now that are in position to be, the starters, and we don't want to touch them. So for him just to be depth, I think that's great. And as far as some of the other guys, I don't have anybody that blew me away. I thought everybody kind of played well. It was Carolina. I really think that I just can't get to the regular season fast enough.
Yeah, I'll give you one stock down guy that I had, and that was veteran cornerback Arthur Millette, who had 2 penalties on the first defensive possession of the second half. But a stock up guy, cornerback Damon Arnett, trying to overcome that terrible personal history, off-field problems, not great on the field either with the Raiders, attempting the big-time comeback here, had the interception, setting up the British Brooks TD. Maybe Arnett's a practice squad guy, Tom. I'm not sure, but you talk about the cornerback battle. It's guys like him, Miles Bryant, D'Angelo Ross, who looked terrible last week, but, nearly had a pick this week. Again, I have to not get too, like you said, don't get too excited. It's the Panthers.
I agree. And all of those guys are going to be some hodgepodge. And I think Nick and D'Amico are just going to, really kind of, okay, I like this guy a little bit better than that guy. I don't think if you told me 2 weeks from now they kept Arnett and they didn't keep Ross or the other way around, I'd be like, well, I really think those guys are the end of the roster, and I'm just okay with whatever they decide.
Am I forgetting anybody on that depth chart? I mean, it's Ross is the vet, and then I think Jalen Smith's on the. I mean, he's it's a 3rd-round pick. They traded up for him. He's definitely on the roster. So, are we missing anybody? Arnett's a guy that we forget. He was a first. I said it a couple of weeks ago. 1st-round talent according to the Raiders, and some thought he got overdrafted, but he was, on most boards, he was at least in the top 2 rounds.
Yeah, I definitely think this team is in a position to be able to take a flyer on a guy and try to, do the whole reclamation project thing. I don't know how many defensive backs they keep. The 53 is going to be so interesting to me because we talked about the wide receivers. We're talking about the running backs. We're talking about the tight ends. And as you start stacking these guys up, you're going to run out of positions really quick. And I think there's going to be some positions on the team that are going to be a little light where you're like, wow, I really would have thought they would have kept more guys. So I just don't know how it's all going to shake out.
I doubt they keep a 3rd quarterback, but it feels like the 3rd quarterback is Slovis. I mean, we're not seeing much of Graham Mertz, and really, I feel sorry with Slovis when he gets out there because he's not getting a whole lot of help from his offensive line. That 3rd string or whatever offensive line that they got him playing behind, he's running for his life a lot, and I just feel like he's made the most. He's kind of taken chicken, whatever you want to call it, into chicken soup.
He definitely was able to extend plays and get out there and use his legs. And I thought Slovis had a few plays where I was like, okay, that's not bad. Obviously, I get back to my point with it being Carolina, but if he's the third quarterback on the practice squad, that I think that's good. I really wonder, okay, we'll carry two quarterbacks and you start getting into the 53, just how they do it, how they manage some of these positions, because there's a lot of good talent on this team.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, Slovis is going to get picked off by some other team. He's not that good, but at least he's somebody that you can keep around on the practice squad just in case or something like that. All right, looks like Jake Andrews is set at center. Now, I never would have thought that a few months ago. Laken Tomlinson set at left guard. I would have thought that a few months ago. So, Tom, that leaves a huge decision with the O-line. Do you want to see Ursery stay at left tackle, Titus at right tackle with Ingram at right guard? Or do you want to see what we saw earlier in camp? If Cam Robinson is healthy, Cam at left tackle, Ursery at right tackle, and Titus at right guard.
The Cam Robinson thing is really, really like interesting, because I think he's paid like a guy that's supposed to be your left tackle. So I don't know how you don't do that if he's healthy. And I get it. You want the best five guys, and that should be the way it goes. But at the same time, they're paying Cam Robinson a lot of money. So I feel like if he's good, if he's competent, like if he doesn't look bad, probably should play him. There's nothing wrong, I think, with making Ursery on the right side versus the left. I think he's going to be good on either side. It's just I guess Cole Popovich we trust, right? Hopefully he's got it figured out.
Well, I will say this. I kind of feel after what I've seen that the run game is better with this current setup, because Ursery moves guys out of the way. Cam Robinson is not known as a run blocker. He's more like Laramie Tunsil was a pass blocker first and foremost. So, you have Titus over at right tackle, which I don't think he's nothing to shake your nose. He can knock some guys out of the way. And then Ed Ingram has played so well at right guard, moving guys, that I would say that, for the run game, it would really help. Now, again, you made the point, and we can't say this enough. This is preseason. These teams are not giving you all the stunts and the blitzes and all that stuff. So when Ursery gets hit with that as a left tackle, who knows? But, he's going to be hit with the same stuff at right tackle if you think about it. So like that's where, that's the real rub for me, is like, okay, what's the better option as far as run pass? And I like having a good run game. It's kind of fun. It's different.
I agree with you. I would also love to see Ursery get the chance to develop. I think if he's got to be the guy opening day, it's a lot, that they're guys are edge rushers are really good. We've got two really good ones. A lot of teams have really good edge rushers, and he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's right away, because we need you to protect CJ Stroud. So if he ends up being the swing tackle, I think that's the best scenario long term. If he's the best guy, then he's the best guy, and you start him.
Going forward, it's kind of fun to just say, all right, we put him at left tackle, and we start our future at left tackle, because Cam Robinson, we know it's just a stopgap, Tom. That's it. He's just a stopgap.
No question. I think that's why he got a 1-year contract. I don't think he was brought in to like show me, and then the Texans were going to invest heavily in him. I think Ursery is the future, but it's how much can he handle, right? The worst thing that could happen is you've got Kenyon Green all over again, and it's too much too fast, and he just never adjusts or acclimates or whatever. And 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we're trying to get Ursery out of town. So if you can slowly feed him into the system because you have that luxury, I think that's a great way to go too.
Yeah, the praise from the Texans player is just off the charts on Ursery. I am not worried about that kid. He is a tough kid that's gone through a lot of stuff. Just go back and listen to when I talked to insider about him and with the Golden Gophers where he went to college at, because we got into that whole background of his. And this is a kid that's gone through a ton. And I don't think there's anything that you can throw at him that would shock him. It's just, how much does he need? I mean, how much time does he need to get up to speed with the NFL? But one thing that would make it a lot easier is if Blake Fisher was just killing it and you could play him at right tackle and just keep Titus at right guard, which is, I guess it's where they want him, even though I love Titus at right. I mean, I personally love Titus at right tackle. I've always loved him at right tackle. They're always trying to move him inside, Tom. And I'm always like, wait a second, isn't he just a really good right tackle?
I mean, there was a moment in time where he went on his social media and said, tackle, and Titus Howard, tackle. He wanted to be paid like one. He feels he's a tackle. And I still think he wants to be a tackle, but I also think he wants to do what's best for this football team because they're tied to each other long term. So I think he'll move wherever they want to move him, especially now that he's been compensated. It's just, what do you do? Obviously, they're trying to figure it out. It's a Rubik's Cube, and they're trying to get all the colors lined up. And I hope Cole Popovich is the guy to do it.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing what I used to do is you take the stickers off the Rubik's Cube, and then that's the way you figure the whole thing out. It's much easier that way. Well,
sounds like cheating.
Yeah. I have a niece that I think she was like 5 years old. My brother-in-law was Rubik's Cube master and taught her. And when she was 5, she could solve it in about 5 minutes or it's nuts. It was, she's pretty sharp though too. That helps as well. Hey, it's at Third Coast Tom. Remind us all the places we can find your work, Tom.
Yeah, at Third Coast Tom on Twitter. That's where I do the most of my, discussions and such, when I'm talking to guys. Obviously, I'm on a podcast with James Roy. It's called The Bullpen, where we're also talking Texans. You can check us out on YouTube. If you look up at James Roy NFL, you'll find all our work there. He's the guy with all the tech stuff. He does all the YouTube stuff. So I appreciate him because I know that's not easy. I know you do all your stuff, and I know that takes some work. So definitely find me there. If you're looking for me on Instagram, at TCTom1 there, that's another place you can find me.
Yeah, James, I think, looks at himself as a fashion maven as far as the Texans are concerned. And Tom, you got to tell him he is not a fashion maven. I am not going to James for my fashion advice, my runway advice. Okay.
Me neither, but hey, I let him do his thing. He's got the flowy long hair. We'll let him have it and do it. For me, I'll be the other guy.
Hey, don't forget also, if you missed it, I talked Rocket schedule in the last show a couple of days ago. A great conversation about their new schedule. I have a special guest coming on this week, a former Astro I'm looking forward to talk to, who played with some Astros legends of the past. It's kind of cool with the Astros Hall of Fame weekend. It's going to be fun to talk to a couple of guys that, way back there as far as the Astros were concerned. Also, just keep in mind, we're doing this 9 o'clock on afternoon games throughout the season. So it gives all you guys a little bit more leeway out there to do what you like to do. But really appreciate you. If you're seeing this on tape, if you're seeing it later, please get in the comments. I want to hear your takes on everything that's going on with the Texans in the preseason. Who do you see making these roster spots at wide receiver, at tight end, secondary, all this stuff? Would love to hear what you guys have to say on all of that. But again, thanks for joining us. We are 1 month away from 12 years as a podcast, longest running Houston sports podcast. Really cool to hit another milestone. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.
Hey, don't forget to support us by subscribing and commenting on YouTube. You can always listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast app. Tell your friends about us and share our show links on social media. Spread the word, everybody. Thanks for listening.